Welcome back to the Cinema Psycho Show. This week, John and I are reviewing the MCU's newest treat to hit Disney Plus with Fantastic Four First Steps. And we're asking the question, why has it been so difficult for Marvel to adapt their first family for the silver screen? And does this newest incarnation that includes everything from a swinging 60s vibe to a comic-accurate Galactus actually deliver? Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
It's clobbering time.
Hopefully that wasn't too distorted.
No, not at all. It was not too distorted at all. It's clobbering time. Oh, boy. Well, this week, we are back in normal form. We are not coming to you from, say, the Erie Horror Fest because it's been a bit. It's been a bit since we've done an actual recording, John. Right?
Yeah, it really has. Dear listeners of Psychos Nation, I didn't lose my equipment. I just didn't know where it was, which I guess is a way of saying I lost it. Because we batch recorded a bunch up there, and we haven't recorded in a while. And thank God Brian was like, have you emptied your bags or the car from when we were up at the Horror Fest? And I was like, son of a bitch. I haven't, because I'm that guy. And,
no, you're not that guy. It's just it's been a bit. We took a little bit of time because we batch recorded, and we didn't have to do our normal weekly routine, which was nice, especially because it gives us a chance to kind of enjoy spooky season. But since we are coming out of spooky season and we're entering Thanksgiving-ish season, I guess that's how I'm going to roll this around, John. Is like, well, we're talking about family, right? Like the Fantastic Four, which is what we're going to be covering. Fantastic Four First Steps. John, I got to be honest with you, and this is, I guess, the first question I'm going to ask. Why is it so difficult to get a good Fantastic Four movie?
I have a theory on this, and I don't want to piss you off, because the thing is, I grew up a comic reader. I'm still a comic reader. I mean, I could use the word graphic novel to make myself feel better about myself, but they're comics. I love them. I still love them. I read Fantastic Four growing up, but comics were created, especially the Fantastic Four, for 7-year-olds. When you have a man who's called Mr. Fantastic and a villain called Von Doom, and like this is clearly written for stupid little kids. And
yeah, but couldn't you make the argument, John, that just about every comic book based movie or characters, if you really think about them, are also kind of stupid? Like let's play devil's advocate. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Okay. We've got a character named Tony Stark who goes by the monkier Iron Man. Let's just think about that. His name's Iron Man. Okay?
But his name isn't Tony Iron.
No, his name is
Tony Good Guy.
You're right. I guess so. I don't know. I think if you really like distill down a lot of these properties and really like take like just a step back from the nostalgia, from the fandom and all that, and just look at it very abstractly, you're just like, yeah, all this shit's made for 7-year-olds. Okay. It's the only difference is that through the years, enough other authors have gone in and given it their own spin that is more nuanced and more adult. Like,
correct.
Let's use your and mine's favorite character, the Batman. Okay.
Switching brands.
Well, yeah, I know. But like, if we look at the Batman, if we look at his comic book history, he started off very similarly to like the Fantastic Four, right? And even through like the Silver Age and the Golden Age, where they started adding in Robin and all that, it got silly. and it got very much made for children. But it wasn't until the 70s, and more specifically the 80s, with The Dark Knight Returns, where you start to get a Batman that is more nuanced and made for grown-ups. So I think the biggest problem with Fantastic Four is that, as far as I can tell, that hasn't really happened to them. They've always kind of stuck in this very niche center of the Marvel universe where it's like kid-centric and not serious, right?
Well, and to keep it kind of in the Marvel universe, when I cheap self plug here, when I interviewed the executive producers and writers for X-Men the animated series, they had never read an X-Men comic, so back then they're getting things faxed to them of like all the characters, their histories, older comics, just faxed page after page after page. I don't know how much money that was, but they said it wasn't until like the 70s with the late 70s with Chris Claremont kind of redid the whole thing and introduced characters like Wolverine and Storm and treated it with more maturity and respect. Like, they said like the early comics were the whole comic could revolve around Cyclops losing his glasses and having to wear something over his eyeballs and the rest of the team trying to find it. And it's just like that was a early 60s X-Men comic. That sounds garbage. But but yeah, as you pointed out, other people see the possibilities because, for Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, like they understood that the people buying the comics were people between the ages of 4 and 14. So it doesn't have to be bloody Shakespeare. But over time, there are people that grew up reading them and said, okay, how can we make this more mature? How can we make this more thoughtful? But it's easy if your character's name is Peter Parker and he's a Spider-Man. It's harder when your character's name is Sue Storm and Johnny Storm and Captain Bad Guy and Mr. Awesome.
Mr. Fantastic, okay?
Reed Richards. Yeah.
Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, so I guess it's worth mentioning that, like, this version of the Fantastic Four is the latest stab in trying to revive this series. We have had we've had three incarnations.
4 if you count the Corman.
Well, no, we've had 3 because this one is I'm counting
incarnations.
This one.
Yeah, I'm counting both of these, the Fantastic Fours with Jessica Alba. Yeah, sorry.
Right. So we've had 3 incarnations so far, up till this point of the Fantastic Four. We had the Roger Corman goofy fucking one, which oddly enough, this one shares a little bit of commonality with, especially in style, to the Corman one, which is kind of weird.
By the way, I rewatched that the other night in preparation.
The Corman one?
Yeah, it is hot garbage. And it's like, I would like to say they are doing their best, but I mean,
no, they're not.
I've seen Corman at his best, and this is not it. And I say Corman, like he didn't direct it. It's like when we say Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles, like, and he just produced it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Roger Corman didn't direct it. I want to be that clear on that. But like, you can tell there's no budget, no time, and it's the simplest of things. It's not even necessarily like cheap special effects. So that there's a point where Ben and Reed are talking outside campus, and you can see tons and tons of people walking by, and all you hear is just one track of birds chirping. You don't hear any of the bustle of people walking around. They just, they either didn't have time or they didn't care. It's just like, we need to get this out. And Brian, do you for all of our listeners who are like, I didn't know that there was an old Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie, do you kind of want to tell them exactly why, unless they are like weirdos like us, they've never heard of this movie?
Sure. So in 1986, Constantin Film bought the film rights to the characters. And it's hard to believe that there was a time when Marvel didn't have control of all of their characters, right? Like all of their core ones. And this was one of the earliest times when this happened. Obviously, we know that, you know, Sony bought Spider-Man and produced a Spider-Man series of films. We know the same thing happened with X-Men, but this one was like the first time. But in '92, Roger Corman produced movie was never released.
They never had any intention of releasing this, but nobody on the production knew that. They think they're making a film and like they're trying their damnedest to make like the best Fantastic Four movie they could. Meanwhile, the higher ups are like, yeah, nobody's ever going to see this fucking thing.
Yeah. So
it was a scam movie.
Yeah. But it was the thing where it was a scam movie that was lost for years. Like people couldn't find this. But then because of YouTube and Daily Motion, it gained in popularity because people found bootleg copies of it.
And that's what, you know, for the listeners, I want you to understand that before everything was archived on the internet, like so many movies are just randomly found in old dusty warehouses, you know, like just a film canister. And they're like, what the hell is this? You know, and it's actually mind boggling to me how many movies are just found in some old dingy warehouse that like had been forgotten to time and then is restored and, you know,
well, that's not to plug local, but like I went to Vinegar Syndrome, the not downtown, but the Pittsburgh brick and mortar Vinegar Syndrome store that just opened. And man, you walk in there and you want to talk about your movies that you didn't know existed that are now getting a second life. They're all there. Like, and there were some that I'm like, I don't know what this movie is. I don't know. And they're old and they're very much the ones that you're talking about, John, where they maybe got life on VHS because that was kind of the way things were back then, but they never made the transition over to DVD or Blu-ray. And now they're getting kind of a second life because there's now a resurgence of popularity of physical media and more or less, you know, these older films. But
after, but after that, you know, which if you can find, by the way, it's on Internet Archive. If for our listeners who are the curious type and want to watch bad movies, it's there. But yeah, then we had, I guess we call it the Chris Evans, Jessica Alba double.
Yeah, the good one. If we want to call it that, the good one. Remember the good one? Like it's good.
And then the sequel, if you want to call either of them good, but yeah, it was
the sequel is
the first one made it
bad.
Yeah, the first they're very cheesy. Which the thing is, like, in fairness, Fantastic Four is kind of cheesy, but the thing is, but it made enough money to warrant a sequel. The sequel didn't warrant enough to warrant another sequel. So it just languished in creative hell until we got the absolute fucking nightmare of Fan 4-Stick.
Well, I was going to say, before we move on to Fan 4-Stick.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Just to talk about these two here. What do you think is the best part about these two films? Like, I know they're not the greatest, and they're kind of like I'd say the B squad of the licensed Marvel properties that went out to other studios because this was a 20th Century Fox production. But what do you think were the best parts of these two films, Fantastic Four and Rise of Silver Surfer?
Oh, I think it's clear. It's turning one of the most famous villains in the history of comics, Galactus, into a fart. A big old space fart.
Who eats planets?
Yeah,
it's a space fart. I thought you were gonna say Julian McMahon. Like, for me, I like Julian McMahon in this. Like, even though I know he's like hamming the shit out of this, but like if you watched him in the show Nip Tuck, you're already like, okay, I know this guy.
I would, to give an honest answer, I would say outside of Jessica Alba, who I'm not knocking her, she's just not properly. She's not right for this movie. The casting is spot on. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think Geoff, or however you say his name, who plays Reed Richards, like looks exactly like Reed. I think
Mhm.
Michael Chiklis, like, okay, he's perfect for, the Thing. And, you got Mr. Dreamy over there as Johnny, before he was Cap. And like,
Yeah.
but he's got that like cocky swagger and,
I gotta say, I like Johnny Storm in these two movies. I like what Chris
but
Evans brings
yeah.
to that character. Um, and like you with the most newest incarnation, I saw less of that.
Oh yeah, he's forgettable. Yeah.
And but like that's the thing is like in these original, the 2005 Fantastic Four and 2007's Rise of Silver Surfer, Johnny's like the one of the best parts. Like his lines are always funny. Chris Evans, say what you want about him, he actually has really good comedic timing when he's in a piece that really needs that. Like if you've ever seen him in Knives Out, he's great in that, and it's the same thing in here. Like the same snark, he's got it. Most people know him now for Cap, but he was great in this too.
It's kind of weird. Like before there was the MCU, like he played a Marvel character and
Yeah.
then he played another Marvel character. When I heard that he was in contention for Captain America, I was like, wasn't he already in one of them
Yeah,
Marvel?
it's like how you do that? How do you go from one to the other? And you're like, no,
The modern
different.
day. Yeah, the modern day example of that is Josh Brolin before 20th Century Fox was bought out by Disney. He's Thanos and Cable.
Yes.
You know.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
But yes, we get Fantastic Four stick
Which
in 2015, which man, I have never seen, and this is worth going to Solo Shot. I have never seen a director take a massive dump on his own movie in the middle of promotion. Like, I've never seen that, but Josh Trank, to his credit, did just that with Fantastic Four stick.
I almost can't blame him in the sense that like he knew, and whoever's right, the producers, the director, I don't know, or the executives, I don't know, but he knew this was going to tank his young career. You do like the indie film that gets you the budget to make the $1 million indie film, and then the studios put their hooks in you to make like, oh, you're going to make the next comic book movie. That seems to be the trend, or the new Jurassic Park or whatever. And he thought, oh, this is my ticket into the big time. And during the production, he must have went, oh no, this is going to bury my career. I need to distance myself from this immediately, and did not hesitate.
But John, like, I have never heard of someone like live tweeting their distaste for their own movie as the movie is gearing up for promo. Like,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yes, he might have been like, I knew it was going to be bad, and I get that. But if I am a studio or if I am a producer and I'm seeing that this is what the director does, I'm not hiring that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It absolutely was a fucking turd. I also look at it as like, you could have just left the production. Like, just walk away. Like, that's possible.
See, well, here's what I think the biggest problem with Fantastic Four is, and ironically, the main movie we're going to talk about, I think, got it right. They found the right recipe where it wasn't too salty and not too bland, is that they decided to take the Fantastic Four so deathly serious, and that didn't work. And the two Fantastic Four movies with Jessica Alba were very, very cornball and silly and flippant and over the top, and like a comic book. And that was kind of like off-putting, because it's like, oh well, if you're not taking this seriously, why should the audience? And it's like, well, okay, where's that middle ground between deathly serious and silly and by the balance? I basically call it Batman 89. If Dark Knight is too dark for you and the Batman 60 show is too stupid for you, Batman 89. There you go.
No, I mean, you're not
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, that's the one thing is, people who are fans of the Dark Knight Rises are just like, yeah, no, this Batman's not dark enough. He's not killing people. I'm like, no, he kills people. He very much like,
Killed everybody
people.
in Ra's al Ghul's chambers. Yeah.
Killed them all. But yeah, I mean, it Batman 89 very much kind of fits that bill. But it is a thing where I do question why a filmmaker would stick around for that long and not jump ship if they know things are going wrong. I mean, Edgar Wright did that
With Ant-Man.
With Ant-Man, right? Like he could clearly see, hey, I'm not having fun on this ride. There's problems. So I'm just going to cut my losses and jump ship. That happens all the time. Creative differences, right? We hear that all the time. But for a director to be like, yeah, no, I'm going to stick with a ship, but then I'm going to trash that fucking turd as it gets off. And to think that that's better. Like I can't think of the last time Josh Trank actually directed anything, which looking right here. Okay. The last one he did, this tells you something. Guess which one the last movie he directed.
I have no idea what the movie is. I'm going to guess a year.
What's the year?
2019.
Close. 2020. The movie.
Movie.
This is gonna make you laugh.
Yeah.
The movie was Capone.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's right. I was so excited to see that until everybody on the internet told me it was a piece of shit.
And then you watched it, and you're like, "Oh, dude, yeah, no, actually, it's a piece of shit."
Yeah, it was 2020. We watched anything, right?
I watched it. I'm just like, yeah, this ain't really good. Like, yeah. But yeah, that was the last movie he's made, the last film he's made. Yeesh. And before that was Fantastic Four. Prior to that was Chronicle. So like, again, like I go with you shot yourself in the foot trying to distance yourself from this movie while you're promoting it. And that's why it didn't help you. And that's why, like, I don't think any producer or any production company is going to be like, yes, I'm going to hire the guy who has a history of trashing films as he's supposed to be promoting them.
Yeah, I mean, look at Madam Web. Everybody on that had to know it was a disaster, but
of course they did.
They still went on the talk show circuits and went, "Oh boy, you gotta see this! Well, it's the best thing."
Think about it. Sydney Sweeney literally said, "I have to do this movie so I can go ahead and make my own film." Right? Like that's the game, unfortunately, that Hollywood makes you do. Jamie Lee Curtis. How many times has she said this is the best Halloween movie ever that's coming out? Right?
Yeah, that
every time.
That kind of pisses me off because she's like, Halloween H2O, we wanted to get it back to the basics and do it right. And then when she did Halloween 2018, she's like, Halloween H2O is a big piece of shit. It's like, Jamie, come on.
It's like, listen, when they give you a giant truckload of money and say, hey, please talk up our movie, you don't say no. You're like, okay, I'll take the giant truckload of money. Yeah. But anyway, moving on from Fantastic Four stick. We get Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, I did not see this movie in theaters. John, did you see it in theaters?
I did. And I just want to say to our listeners, like, feel like, oh, it's interesting that the psychos are talking about this now, is that, look, we can't see every new release when it comes out. Like, if you guys want to pay us,
if Disney, if two things, okay? If we did a Patreon and you guys all paid us money, we'd be able to afford to go to these things. Yeah. Okay. Because sometimes we get screeners, sometimes we don't. But oftentimes for these big ones, we don't get those. Two, if Disney and Marvel are watching, hey, send us the fucking screeners so we can talk about them earlier.
We'll be your filthy corporate shills.
Yes, we will.
We'll sell out in a heartbeat. No, but yeah, if Patreon, if you pay Brian and I both $5,000 equally, we do 3 episodes a week. But until then, we only could pick.
Oh man, can you imagine if we were financially able to do this podcast as the job?
I don't think my erection would ever go down. But
You be ding dong and left and right.
but so sometimes we talk about like, okay, well, let's wait till it goes to streaming and then
Yeah.
we'll talk about it because it just didn't fit the schedule.
Yeah.
So that's where we are here with this one. But yeah, I did see this in the theater and I did enjoy this. And one thing that I loved about this movie was threefold. One, it was in kind of like an alternate universe, so it could be its own thing. Two, there wasn't some Taika Waititi joke to undermine
I was
everything.
waiting for you to throw a Taika Waititi in there. Like you really, really hate
Hey,
him.
What we do in the Shadows of Jojo Rabbit are brilliant. I just don't like his Marvel stuff. But
Okay, fair enough.
yeah. And then lastly, the characters felt like real human beings and not just like like people from Thunderbolts where they're just goof nuggets,
Yeah, the goof nuggets.
But so like, yeah, it felt like they were trying to actually make a movie and not an assembly line, cheese whiz, laugh fest, fuck you in the butt that is most Marvel movies these days.
I don't know. I liked it for the most part. And honestly, one of the biggest things that I can say I did like about Fantastic Four First Steps was that this was not an origin movie.
Mhm.
Like that's a big deal for Marvel to basically have the balls to say, yeah, we haven't really introduced the Fantastic Four, but we're not going to make the first half of this film be go into a rocket ship, get hit by space radiation shit, and oh my God, they've got powers. Now we've got to spend the whole time dealing with their powers. Then they're going to come together at the end to realize that their powers make them strong and their bonds as a family make them strong. Like, I'm glad that we didn't get that because we've seen that movie before. And, it was nice to be like, yes, we're just going to do a little montage thing in a very cute way of giving us an idea of the world that these characters exist in. Like the fact that they did it through like an ABC 1960s like television
Exposition
special. Yeah, but it was like a television special that
Yeah.
we've seen those.
Mhm.
Like it almost reminded me of like old television specials about the Apollo missions. When that was a thing, because that was something that they did. They did these promos about the Apollo missions, and it felt very much like that, but it did the work of giving us all of that exposition without us having to be completely invested because we all know it. Why? Because this is the fourth iteration of this. We know the story. We know that they went into a rocket ship and got hit by space radiation.
Well,
it's the same thing with the Batman. Why I think that worked well because we didn't need an origin.
Well, it's also like you could say it's the countless origin of this if you count the actual, well, I don't know, comic books, and how many times those have been rebooted and reworked. But you see, that's the tricky thing with Hollywood just diving into these things too many times and screwing them up and rebooting them. Because in theory, I have no problem with the Fantastic Four going into space and being hit by spacers. I have no problem with Bruce Wayne parents getting killed in the alley. I have no problem in theory with Uncle Ben getting killed and then Spider-Man realizing with great power comes great responsibility, is because these are the things that make the characters. But really the problem is that they just reboot these things time and time and time again that we don't want to see it, even though it's crucial to the character's ethos. But it's because Hollywood just doesn't know how to chill that we go, well, I don't want to see that again, even though it's crucial to the characters that we're watching because they ruined it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily see it that way. I look at it as that's a story that we see all the time. And these characters have more stories that we never really get a chance to dive into because we're preoccupied with at least the first film with it being the origin, right? Like that's just how it works, right? Oh, we've never seen this one. People don't know who they are. So we're going to spend 2/3 of the film as an origin. And it's like, dude, there's so many more stories that have been made that never get told because we're always preoccupied. And it is partially, yes, John, because of the fact that this industry is a business and you're lucky if you get 2, if not 3 cracks at exploring these characters before a reboot or rehash happens. You know?
And one thing that did upset me about this, as I was an avid comic book reader growing up, as I still am, to repeat myself from earlier, but like there are tons of comics that I didn't read. Like I didn't read Doctor Strange, I didn't read Guardians, I didn't read Black Panther. So whatever the movies do, I'm just like, okay, I'm in for the ride if it's good. I don't go, that's not exactly how it happened in comic book 167. But I was a Fantastic Four reader. And so I was the things I said I was relieved about with this, if I'm talking about things I was disappointed in, is that there was no Victor
Yeah.
involved, and that we didn't see the whole point of Ben Grimm and being the thing is that like how much he suffers through this
That
horrific
yes.
nightmare that he's going through.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So one that leads to me to talking a bit about good and bad is that the stylistic nature of this film, I think, takes a bit away from the human drama. You know what I mean?
It's
Like
very
they
much
went hard. They went hard, John, on the 60s stuff. And I get that. And that fits. I think that fits better for the Fantastic Four than anything else. And I think that's, if anything, what saved this movie was that. But it came at the cost of, I don't know, human struggle.
Yeah, it's very much like the way I would describe this movie is if you went to the World's Fair in the 1960s and they said, this is what 2010's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's still going to look like the 60s, but with like machines that'll operate themselves. It's like, and they're kind of going by that. Like, what did
Which is
1960s
fine.
think the future looked like?
Yeah. But I think, to your point, like Ben Grimm especially is a sympathetic character, and we get hints that in this film that he is struggling, but it's never outwardly expressed. It's never said. It's always like underneath the surface. Like he has this, potential relationship with Natasha Lyonne, and it goes nowhere. Like it's just like, yeah, I am a rock monster, but I'm kind of really into Natasha Lyonne, and we're gonna just have a couple scenes, but then we're never gonna have like that moment where he starts to ask himself, how can I really have a relationship with someone the way I am? And it's those sort of things that make
he's ribbed for her pleasure.
I was waiting.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm trying to make a point about the lack of humanity in this film, and you just go straight to dick jokes.
And I interrupted you too. Sorry.
It's cool. But I do feel that this movie lacks depth when it comes to the fact that these characters do have to deal with the fact that they are different and other. And I think when the main plot starts to occur, that could have been explored a bit. Like what? Like you think about it. If you had a whole subplot of, Ben Grimm saying, "Why am I going to save Earth if they treat me like shit? If they don't see me as human? If I can't have a meaningful relationship with somebody because I'm a monster in their eyes, even though they want me for." As to save the world, but now I'm viewed as a monster by everything. I'm not a man. Those sort of questions could have been asked and could have made this movie a bit more than just a popcorn film. But I imagine that the trepidation infused from Fantastic Four stick might have been one of the reasons why they were like, we're not going that far.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think that they were afraid to go too serious, especially with the fact that I guess skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want spoilers for Thunderbolts, the movie that came out before this. But at the end of that movie, this band of idiots gets build the new Avengers, and
You really don't like the Thunderbolts, do you?
I thought I thought it was an okay movie, but I mean I hope that it's portrayed that it's a joke that these are the new Avengers.
Yeah, they're not
Because
the new
the whole
Avengers.
thing is they're supposed to be a bunch of schmucks, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole joke, and but they're in Stark Tower and they get a feed of the Fantastic Four ship coming. So it's like, okay, now we have alternate dimensions, I guess, for whatever reason. The Fantastic Four are now in this universe. And I thought when I saw early trailers for the Fantastic Four movies, and Galactus was in it, I thought, oh, I bet Galactus wins. And the
I thought
Fantastic
the same
Four,
thing.
yeah, they have to come to a different dimension to help try to save their own world. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. But but yeah, and so this is going to continue on in the more goofy verse that
Yeah.
is, Earth. I guess we call this Earth One.
No,
That-
this is called. Are you talking about like where the Fantastic Four live?
Or no, where the Thunderbolts live. Yeah, or that the Fantastic Four is coming into. Is that Earth One?
No,
in
it's not
comic
Earth
book
One. That's a
lore?
DC thing.
Oh, is that DC? Okay.
That's DC is
Yeah.
Earth One. No, they're. I mean, the Fantastic Four live in 828 land. That's they live. I think.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go with
Yeah.
that. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I don't have my Marvel Universe book in front of me to go like, oh, which Earth do the Prime ones? Let's just call it Sacred Timeline. How about that? But anyway, I also thought we were going to get a little bit of tie into that, but that just tells me like, oh, now I've got to watch Avengers Doomsday because that's going to explain it. And we're basically going to get like a rehash scene there. But one thing I did want to bring up, and this is important to bring up, is that we do get a proper Galactus in this film. What were your thoughts, John, about a proper Galactus and not a giant fart?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he wasn't a giant fart again, but I also thought he kind of came off a little wooden. I mean, he's obviously
giant
he's
monster.
CGI, it's just
Yeah.
he came off a little wooden, and like I don't know, I felt like he could have been the villain for a two-parter Avengers film, and he just kind of gets outsmarted and like made into a little bitch by the Fantastic Four in this movie. And it's
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I looked at the runtime and I'm like, wait a minute, we're like 2/3 of the way through the movie, and you're gonna defeat Galactus in 20 minutes? Like, really? I don't know. I think that the ending of this film is very rushed when it comes to Galactus. Like, there's a lot of build up to it, and then we get the battle, and like the first plan doesn't work, and so we go to plan B, and plan B doesn't work, but so we go to plan C, but we're doing it in the course of 20 minutes. But in terms of Galactus not being a fart, it was nice to see him as a comic accurate representation. But yeah, I mean, Galactus is kind of a very big fucking deal. Like, I'm pretty sure he's a god. Like,
Yeah.
like he's a god. Like he's one of those. Like, you're not like a phony god. He's a real one, like imbued with the power cosmic. So I'm like, what's the deal here? Apparently Sue Storm in her mom strength can outdo a god.
Don't fuck with a mom, man.
I know. I get that. I get that. I
know what you're saying. Yeah.
I was like, he's a god. Like,
Yeah.
he eats planets and shits fire. So like but you okay, whatever. I was just like, I have whatever. But it was nice to see that it was comic accurate.
But what I
Yeah.
find so funny about this movie is that the central premise is is that Reed is just dry dogging Sue, just like just going to town. Like
He's dry dog.
she's basically gotta piss out a go-gurt after every sex
Jesus
act,
Christ.
and Mr. Fantastic,
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic,
Yeah.
but
Everything stretches, John.
oh my god, yeah. She's probably gonna be like,
Everything
"Reed,
stretches.
stop, that's enough."
Everything stretches.
Yeah.
This 40 minutes into the episode, we had to get to that part. Like we had to get there.
You're in my intestines now, Reed. Stop stretching. But yeah, he knocks up Sue. They have the baby, and then they go to confront Galactus, and Galactus is like, "I want that baby. Give me that baby." And,
Wants baby back ribs.
yeah. And
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back ribs.
the funny thing is, good old Mike Myers.
He's just gonna think of Galactus saying, "I want that baby. Get in my belly.
Yeah.
I want that power cosmic baby."
But they come back to Earth and they're like, "Hey, did you succeed?" They're like, Nah,
dude.
bro, we couldn't have failed anymore." And here's the thing. Motherfucker says he'll spare our planet. Yeah, we're like, get my baby. And everybody is way too calm about this. And the reason I know that everybody's way too calm about this, people are trampled to death on Black Friday over microwaves.
Yes. Yeah.
They
microwaves and Blu-ray players.
Yeah. They would have bum rushed the Fantastic Four, and they would have sacrificed that baby immediately. They would have even done it wrong. They probably would have killed the baby, and then it would have been like, "Oh shit, that's not what Galactus wanted."
Yeah.
There's no way they would have went, right, Fantastic Four, you think it through.
Yeah. No, there would have been absolutely a not a regular mob, but an angry mob ready to steal that baby, and you would have had attempts to steal the baby from the angry mob, like immediately. People are fucking irrational. Baby.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah. It would have been all over the place. And that would have taken up a good chunk of the film. Is the Fantastic Four dealing with the fact that the people who love them really don't love them. they're out for themselves, and don't get me wrong, like, I get it, self-preservation. That's number one. But like, you gotta ask yourself, what if it was your kid?
Yeah.
Would you give up your kid to save the Earth? Probably not.
Well, it's that question that they made a movie out of it. But like, if somebody came to your house and said, "I'll give you $1 million if you press this button, but what you need to know is that some random person somewhere in the world will die when you press this button." Your hope is that you don't know them, and you'll never have to know who it was. And if you're the person that presses the button, so it's always easy to be like, "Well, that's their baby. I don't want my world to come to an end." Where what if it was your kid?
Yeah. But no, you're right. They would have absolutely bum rushed him.
And because
go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Because they spend like the next 45 minutes of the movie trying to figure out ways comfortably in their home to figure out a way to beat Galactus. What if we try this physics thing here? And meanwhile, nobody is just bum rushing the door to this place.
The fact it's calm outside the Baxter building is unusual. One thing that I did want to point out, and I mentioned this to John before we went on the air and recorded. This movie has a plot that I've seen before. Okay. What could the plot be? John, for our audio only audience that don't know what you're doing to your face. But yeah, this movie has a plot that is very similar to 1989's Ghostbusters 2. It's almost beat for beat.
Brian, are you inferring that
Kevin Feige stole it? Absolutely, I am.
That some other worldly superior being beyond anything that we can comprehend wants to inhabit a baby so that
Yes.
he can return and rule the planet,
Yes.
and only the power of love and unity of the world can solve it.
Yes. Yes. That is
Oh,
exactly what I'm saying, because that is the plot of Ghostbusters 2.
hey, wait
Okay.
a minute.
Baby Oscar is Franklin Richards. Okay. Galactus is Vigo. Fucking Silver Surfer is Janosch. Okay. And like, let's look at this here. How does Galactus get destroyed in this film? Okay, let's look at this here. Okay, it's worth going to camera one here. Okay, for a video audience. Here is how, again, spoilers, whatever. Here is how the ending of this film goes with not Galactus, but Vigo. Okay, so Sue Storm is using the power of goodness and love and her magic powers to push Galactus into a void that they have set, that the other Fantastic Four have set up. Okay, some like black hole type shit. That is very similar to the ending of Ghostbusters 2, where Vigo is shoved into a fucking painting with the power of positively charged slime. Okay? Same thing, two different movies.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking movie.
Can't argue
I
it.
saw some people compare this, because I do have some reviews. I saw some people compare this to The Incredibles. They're not wrong either.
I get a lot less Ayn Rand bullshit
Yes,
that I
there's
do
that.
with The Incredibles. Yeah. I hate
I take
The
it you're not a
Incredibles.
fan of The Incredibles?
I fucking hate those movies.
Really?
With a-
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, it's the fucking Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged in Pixar superhero form.
I never saw it that way. I do see your point to a degree, but yeah, I don't know. I always saw them as basically like knockoff Fantastic Four.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch the movie again. It literally is the plot of Ghostbusters 2, and it's kind of blatantly obvious.
In the sheer fact that the people of the world,
Mhm.
not New York, not the East Coast, not the United States, not North America, the fucking world would just wait on them to be like, we're going to create a science experiment where we move the planet.
Yeah,
It's like that's your fucking plan.
that's because Mr. Fantastic is Mr. Fantastic.
He's daddy. He's Pedro Pascal.
I mean, I will say one thing about Pedro Pascal. I did not like him as much in this as I have liked him in other things like The Mandalorian. He's kind of the opposite of the dad style, like the dad we're used to, compared, like, because Din Djarin would move heaven and earth for his fucking kid. He would move heaven and earth for Grogu. Okay, let's be honest here. Pedro Pascal has a moment where he's like, maybe we should give the kid up. Like that clearly crosses his mind. And you could see it in his face. He doesn't say it, but it clearly crosses his mind. Because he is very different.
Yeah,
than that
I thought-
dad we're used to.
I thought the casting overall was ho-hum in this movie. And I do find it interesting. You look at somebody like Pedro Pascal, there's a reason that they cast Tom Holland, who looked like a 9-year-old as Spider-Man, because they plan to make like 20 of these things, right? So he has to age into the role. Like Pedro Pascal's what, like 52?
Yeah.
If they want to make 10 of these Fantastic Four movies, he's going to be.
I don't think they're going to. I think they die in Doomsday.
Okay. Oh wow, that's a
think about it. When you're introducing the Fantastic Four, one, I don't think they can afford to keep paying these high profile actors like Pedro Pascal, so they're probably going to kill him off.
Yeah,
to avoid having to pay him. Because one, I don't think the Avengers movies or any of the Marvel films are giving the dividends that they're used to. And if they're not, doing as well as you'd hope, then they can't afford these big actors. So I think they're like, well, we can get them for 2-picture deal. If Doomsday blows up, great. Maybe we'll bring him back. Life model decoyed him, that sort of deal. But I don't know. Anytime that I see any actor who's, as you said, like he's older and clearly is more established than you're used to in a role in a Marvel film, I go, they're not long for this.
Yeah.
Because that's just the nature of the beast. Now, with it said, John, do we want to get to some reviews?
I've been waiting this whole time. Let's roll.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, who are new to this podcast, the review section is where I have pulled 4 reviews from Letterboxd on this movie. John, you have not seen these, right?
I have not. It's like the Oscars. The envelopes are sealed until it is time to announce them.
Sweet. So we're going to take a look at these and we're going to react to them. So let's go to review number 1. Not bad, or you could just watch The Incredibles again. 3 stars.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Vicious, but not wrong.
Vicious, but not wrong. Yeah. I mean, it as I said, like I'm surprised that no one picked up. Like I think this might be a first. I don't think anyone has picked up that this is the plot of Ghostbusters 2. Like Incredibles has been something that has been referenced multiple times when I was looking at reviews for this film. Like they obviously pulled it back to that. I could see that one, but like, man, if you just take a step back and really think about the plot of Fantastic Four First Steps, it absolutely is Ghostbusters 2.
See, I'm glad you said that, and that it's not like The Incredibles, because The Incredibles is obviously an homage to a couple of things, mainly being the Fantastic Four. That would be like somebody saying, like, "Oh man, you see Dracula? It's totally a ripoff of Nosferatu." It's like,
that's very much. It's like, I think you're a little confused there, but okay. All right, let's go to review number 2. Galactus might be on the Epstein list because being so obsessed with a baby is very weird.
Good Lord. All right. We're going there.
That's not the first person I saw point that out. Like there were a couple that were like,
didn't want to fuck the baby.
No, he just wanted the baby to imbue it with his power so he could not have to eat planets anymore. Kind of like Ghostbusters 2 and Vigo and Oscar. All right, let's go to review number 3.
Oh my.
Crime against movies. A crime against brains. Anyone old enough to get horny has no business enjoying movies like this. These are cynical, formulaic products made by committees to get money from people who want to please their children, yet somehow have become the dominant cultural force of the last 20 years, swallowing up and destroying smaller, high-quality art and entertainment. Shame on everyone who had a hand in this. How does that big, stupid rock monster have sweaters that fit? Fuck this bullshit in the fucking face. Wow.
I've gone cross-eyed.
Wow. Where do you start? Where do you start with that one?
Unpack there. Yeah.
Let's try to let's work backwards. I think it might help if we work backwards, John.
Okay.
So let's work backwards here. Okay, the first part is, how does that big stupid rock monster have sweaters that fit? I don't know. This movie takes place in an alternate 1960 where they've got flying fucking cars.
All right, well, let's start with that stupid fucking rock monster. So this guy is clearly not a fan.
Clearly.
He bought a ticket to a big budgeted movie off the name recognition and went, "What the fuck is this crap?"
Yeah, why are the Fantastic Four in a movie called Fantastic Four?
Why is that guy stretching? And why is that chick going invisible like John Cena?
Why is that guy light on fire? Smoke alarms will be going off all over the place.
So so clearly it's not his bag.
It's not your bag.
This is
That's
not
cool.
He doesn't care for the 4 that are the Fantastic. Okay.
And he doesn't like the fact that Ben Grimm tries to wear human clothes.
I mean, there's big and tall, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I go, you're complaining about the fact that Ben Grimm wears human clothes in a movie where they have flying cars? You don't think that they have invented clothing that stretches? I don't know. They must have, because Reed Richards needs clothing that stretches.
I mean, hey, look, I'm as most long listeners to the show know, I'm a fan of professional wrestling. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, there's a guy named The Big Show, his real
There
name
is.
Paul White, who was bigger than Ben, and you know what? He wears clothes.
How dare he wear clothes, John? Don't you know he's so big that he should not wear clothes anymore?
Yeah.
Because why would clothes fit a large man, or in this case, a rock man? But let's work backwards. Okay, so we talked about the rock monster wearing sweaters that fit. Okay, the high quality art being destroyed. Okay, this is the same argument that we have heard time and time again from people like Martin Scorsese, who criticize these movies and say, like, these are somehow taking away from quote unquote legitimate high quality films.
Well, okay. In defense of Marty, and I haven't done my homework because, again, I haven't seen these reviews, so I wasn't prepared for this. I think what he's saying is that he doesn't have any problem with them existing. He's saying that they're not art, they're not cinema. But what my take would be is, if I'm following him on his logic, is that movies are all kinds of things. They can be fart joke movies, they can be superhero movies, and they can be very, very artsy movies. And I wouldn't want any other way. I'd want a balance of, some popcorn movie, and I can go to some art movie, and I can go to some like boner comedy, and just like all kinds of different types of movies. Like, it's the question of art as compared to entertainment are completely different. And I don't think that it's killing the art house film. It's just Brian and I are lucky enough to live in Pittsburgh, where we have the Harris Theater, we have Row House, we have the Hollywood, we have the Oaks. A lot of theaters that will show independent films, documentary films, films on a lower budget. And I know that not every town has that. You have your one Cineplex, and that's it. But that doesn't mean that these films aren't still getting out there. Independent film and art house film are still there. You just might not have access to it. And I'm sorry for you for that if you live in a more rural area. But it just that's how the cookie crumbles. But if you live in a bigger city, you can still see those art movies. They haven't gone anywhere. It's just that your AMC or your Cinemark might not carry them as much as more of the independent houses do.
It's also worth noting, and I know this is a hard pill to swallow, and we've mentioned this before in this show, the film industry is an industry. It's a business. So
business, not film art.
You are angry about the fact that these movies are popular. You're angry that they are making money and that they are continually being made and that people are referencing these movies as cinema. Blame then the people paying the tickets, because that's the truth of the matter. If people didn't pay for these films, if people didn't attend these films, they would not be made. Okay, that's how it works. That's the whole dichotomy, and it's a thing now where that is more important now than just about anything. It used to be, and we've talked about this before, that films studios could like say, okay, well, we're going to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. We know that that's going to sell
because
right?
Arnold's in it.
Because Arnold's in it, and it doesn't matter what Arnold's in. He could be in a movie that's a goofy comedy with Danny DeVito, or he could be in a muscle-bound action film, battling mutants on Mars. It doesn't matter. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And no matter what, those two different movies would fucking sell. It's not that way anymore. These studios are more risk averse than ever before. And that is why we are having these problems. That is why you hear people saying that Hollywood is dying. And I think there's some truth to that, but it's because that no one wants to take a chance, because the safer bet is the financially responsible one. If you don't like it, start going to more art house films. Take your friends to there. Maybe the next time there is a Patreon or a Indiegogo for an independent film, you contribute to them. If that is what you want, start doing those things. But don't trash Marvel for literally doing what is their business, right? Like, I will trash Marvel all the live long day, but they're very good at business and making a product that people, for the most part, like. I think they've gone downhill since Endgame, but people are still actively going to these films.
Well, and I hate to defend the mart of competitive commerce here, but if you have a scarf company and you start adding hats into your sales, and then you look at your money and you realize that 97% of your sales are in hats, you're no longer a scarf company, you're a hat company.
Yeah.
These movies have to make money,
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, there is a lot to unpack with why that is. There's a lot of negative things that lead to that.
Sure.
But I do not blame Marvel for their popularity. They hit a gold mine with these characters, and they're going to continue to milk those characters because people continue to pay the tickets for it. People continue to have their Disney Plus subscriptions and watch these films. So it's not their fault. It's the consumer's fault for continuously buying the tickets and paying for it. So there's that. All right, let's go to our last review of the episode. Vanessa Kirby fighting for her life for 2 hours while bro is trying to solve equations.
Hey, those equations need solved, okay?
Well, actually, technically, it's almost everyone except for Ben Grimm. Like, her brother, Johnny Storm, is too busy trying to play his golden records to try to decipher the hot silver girl, because he really, really, really wants to date her. Which, okay. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, if we all saw a hot alien, we'd be like, I want in that.
Well, I'm just saying, Johnny Storm here is very much just like, I'm gonna drop everything to figure out this sexy space alien girl. I want to find out, is that board actually attached to her, or is it separate? And I need to understand her language so that I can ask her out.
Even though she's completely naked and I can't see a labia minora, I can't see a clitoral hood, but
Jesus Christ. Yeah, the anatomically correct space alien, right? Because it couldn't be too weird. Couldn't be too weird.
Like a big giant silver bush.
Jesus Christ.
On my planet, we don't shave. And Johnny's like, pass.
But then, like Mr. Fantastic is just like, yeah, you go do that whole fight stuff. I'm going to be sitting here in front of my chalkboard solving equations.
By the way, when the hell was Johnny so fucking smart, by the way?
He's never been fucking smart, but that's the thing. They made him smart in
this.
They
needed it. Yeah.
They're like, well, we can't have Mr. Fantastic be the lone smart person in this whole
Ben's
movie.
Smart?
Right? Nah, he's a rock creature. He's only
yeah.
he
He's
can't
got
be
a
smart.
clobber. He has to clobber.
He's got a clobbering time, although he doesn't like saying clobbering time. Yeah, but no, they made Johnny smart, which I'm like, that doesn't track.
Yeah, he's kind of a horny doofus, unpredictable.
I mean, he is in
jerk.
this movie too, but he's just a smart, horny doofus.
Yeah.
So. Well, it has been a fun clobbering time, John. What are your final thoughts on Fantastic Four First Steps?
Oh, I hate to throw an M. Night Shyamalan twist in there, but I'm going to ask my final thoughts as a question to you.
Oh, shit. I didn't see this one coming.
Is Marvel back, or is this
I was hoping we would avoid this question.
or is this just kind of like a step in the right direction, or like I don't think it'll ever be back to where it was like when the first Avengers film came out, but like, are they back in terms of being successful, or is this just a blip on the radar?
I would say that I feel that this is very much a blip on the radar. I would love to tell everyone that, oh yes, Marvel's back. I thought that we were back with Deadpool and Wolverine. I thought that's where we were going. Then we got some other weird movies that came after that and weird Disney Plus shows that came after that. And I'm like, okay, we're not at all back. I'm not sure what's going on. But I don't know, man. Like I think that Marvel is in such an aimless state that, you know, they're trying to throw everything at Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars and try to kickstart their quality with those properties and leading everything to it, that I still don't think they're there. I think that ship has sailed. I think it's a slow death rather than, getting back to normalcy. I just don't see it. I think, this was kind of a gimmick.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they could spin it as like, oh no, this is us like giving you what you wanted. It's out of like the normal, and it's out of this universe, and da da da. But yeah, but I agree with you. I think it's more of a gimmick.
I think it's a gimmick. It's like, hey, yeah, it'd be cool to see the Fantastic Four in this universe where everything's the 60s. And don't get me wrong, that part is cool. And I think that this movie is more of a Fantastic Four movie than we've ever had up to this point. Like, I mean, I really do believe that. And you could tell that like the people behind it really did love the Fantastic Four. There's a lot of fan service in this particular film, which is great to see. But I don't know. I look at it as like, how do you translate that into quality that fills the rest of your back catalog of movies? Like, how does that work for the next ones that come up? Like, we know the next one is Avengers Doomsday, which is supposed to be like big fucking insane type of movie where we've got all of our characters and Robert Downey Jr.'s back, but now he's Victor Von Doom, and I don't know how the fuck that's gonna work. But I don't know if they can just throw their toys at it again.
But the thing is, that's not until
next year.
It's 13 months away. They're going 13. They used to have a movie out every 3 months.
And they have
like,
I'll
gobble it up.
No, they've backed that off because they saw very quickly that, fast tracking this shit doesn't really work. But they haven't let off that so much with the series. Like, they have had other series that have popped up that were Marvel series, and it's like, okay, I guess that's there. Like, I forget the last one. I don't even think I tuned into the last one.
Well, the way I always saw the Disney Plus TV shows were this character isn't profitable enough for a movie, but maybe a show that will help progress all of our storylines,
The only good one I would say, and this is just one it reminded me of just now, Daredevil Born Again. Have you seen that series yet?
Oh, no, wait. Is that part of the MCU?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch
So
that.
you gotta watch that.
I love the graphic novel. So
So what they did was, if you watch Daredevil from Netflix,
yeah,
they continued though that story
right.
with now under Marvel's, banner. So they took a lot of the characters from that and made a really solid series. I think that was the last one that I saw.
Because
Was
he was in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Charlie Cox? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it has Kingpin back in it, Vincent D'Onofrio. Really, really solid series. That's the last one that but again, that one is kind of also a little bit different than the other Marvel properties that we've seen and that that are being promoted. Very different from Thunderbolts, very different from Fantastic Four. It's more akin to like the Batman and a grittier type of like street level stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, he is more gritty.
Yeah, he's Marvel's Batman in my opinion. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that one was the last good one I saw. The rest of them, I'm like, well, maybe they'll be good. Who knows?
Yeah, I remember when WandaVision and then
that was okay.
And then was it what's his ass in the Winter Soldier?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon. I want to say Hawkeye. I'm like, no, it's not Hawkeye.
Yeah, there was
Falcon.
a Hawkeye. No,
there was. I watched that.
There was a Hawkeye one.
Yeah,
there was a Hawkeye one. There was Moon Knight. There was Werewolves at Midnight. There's been a shit ton.
She-Hulk, What If? Yeah.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, after those two, I'm like, I don't feel I need to watch these. I'll watch them as I desire. I don't need to. Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, John, what did you think though of Fantastic Four: First Steps?
I like that again. To go back to what I said at the beginning, I like that it was different. It was different enough from their normal formula that I was able to have a good time. I mean, am I going to say this is like some groundbreaking piece of cinema? No, it absolutely isn't. It was just a popcorn movie where you sit around, you eat your milk duds, you fart in the fucking seat, and then you get up, make sure you didn't drop your wallet and head out and maybe forget it in a year. But it was decent. It was a change. It was something that I didn't expect, and I appreciated that it wasn't, Thor Ragnarok or Guardians 3, which I did enjoy. But the thing is, it wasn't just the laugh riot, James Gunn, Taika Waititi, everything's going to be undermined by a joke kind of thing. And so I appreciated it for that. It's far from a great fucking movie, but decent enough.
Yeah, I saw it for what it is. I thought it was a nice stylistic film that clearly was loved by the people who made it, people who obviously love the characters, and I thought it was probably the best incarnation of the Fantastic Four that we've had since, like, barring some of the weird things, and also barring the fact that the plot is borrowed from Ghostbusters too. I'm not gonna let that one die. Because no one's talked about it.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
So with that said, John, where can they find you at on the internet?
You can find me over at the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and I do apologize. I need to come clean, listeners. I am moving currently.
Shock. Gasp.
But yeah, it has taken up all of my free time. So I told you I was gonna get the interview I did with the forensic psychologist, who breaks down all of your favorite movie, your serial killers, whether it's supernatural or not, into real life parables or connections rather to that. And that I would have that out by Halloween, but the move has just delayed that day after day after day. So bear with me. I've been cutting it. I need to put the B-roll in. I'll get that out to you as soon as possible. But I'm sure anybody out there knows that moves suck and they take up all of your free time. But I will get that out as soon as possible.
I don't think anyone is sitting there going like, how dare John not have the thing that he has promised us out yet? Because how dare he move?
Oh,
yeah. How dare he do that?
It was so appropriate for spooky season, though, and it's come and gone.
Listen. For all of us, spooky season is every day. So there you go. Of course, if you have loved this podcast, please do me a favor and share it. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your favorite, I don't know, Fantastic Four fan. They might like this. Of course, if you want to really help us out, you can follow us on your favorite podcast platform of choice. If you just go right there, cinemapsychoshow.com/follow. You can follow us. We've got buttons. You just press them, and whatever device you're on, boom, it'll go ahead and subscribe you to us, and you'll never miss an episode. Of course, if you are watching us here on YouTube, hey, thank you so much for doing that. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up, and hit that bell, and also do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Those things really do help us out. And while you're at it, if you feel so inclined, let us know down in the comments, what did you think of Fantastic Four First Steps? And did you also notice the Ghostbusters 2 plot? Because I don't know if anyone else did. I thought it was just me. But let us know in the comments what you thought of the film. And with that said, we will see you next time.
Reed Richards needed to fill Sue with positive slime.